Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the All Mercy podcast. We are so excited to end this mental health month talking about mental health, anything mental health. First of all, today is Memorial Day. We're celebrating Memorial Day in the US. We want to take this moment to honor those who sacrificed their lives for our freedom. We appreciate them. There's nothing we can do or say, but say we continue to honor you for the great sacrifice. That because you did it, we can be free today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mental Health Month. We're talking about mental health screening and healthy aging. What is mental health again? What is healthy aging? Do we screen for mental health? Is it something that you can check and say, okay, we are screening or we are not screening? We have so many people here today with us, and we will let them talk about it very soon. Thank you. Again, welcome, 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 everyone. We have at least 5 speakers here today to throw some more light about mental health screening and healthy aging. I'll introduce them one at a time. The first person that I'll introduce is Tatiana. She'll let us know who she is and where she's calling from. Okay, Tatiana, thank you for coming to this panel at such short notice. And we are happy, so happy to have you.
Thank you, Dr. Mercy. Thank you for having me on this show. My name is Tatiana. I hope I'm audible. Tatiana Joan Wandar. I'm from Uganda and working volunteering with a Mind Over Body on mental health awareness campaigns. I've also volunteered with SMIRE. That's a community project that's working to screen mental health in our communities before, something new. And I'm very happy to be on this platform to be part of the conversation today. Thank you.
And again, Tatiana, somebody is asking me, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Uganda, Kampala.
Wow. Thank you. And it's 7 p.m. over there right now.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Next, we want to hear from Brooke. How are you? And welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much, Dr. Mercy. I'm calling from Southern California and wishing happy Memorial Day to all and the veterans as well who have served. Deeply grateful. And I'm so excited to be here today to talk about mental health and how photobiomodulation has a role. I own and operate a wellness center specializing in photobiomodulation in Southern California, where I have the opportunity to work on work with people of all ages, from young to old and everything in between. People of all walks of life who are able to benefit from this technology. So I look forward to sharing and being a part of this today. Thank you.
And I see your logo. It says light is life. I love that. I cannot wait to learn more about that. I'm sure I'm not the only one who is ready to learn about that. Next, we have Franca. Franca, welcome. And please tell us where you're calling from. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure shared. It's such an honor to be part of this interview or conversation. My name is Franca Sulem Yong. I'm a Cameroonian, but I'm actually in Nigeria for the Arts and Health Week. and I run an organization known as the Afro-Giftness Movement. Afro-Giftness is coined from two words, Africa and forgiveness. And as an art therapist, Afro-Giftness is an organization that I created to enable survivors of conflict and intolerance to heal through forgiveness and release through art. And we use the universal language of art and the divine message of forgiveness to heal, connect, and uplift survivors on opposite sides of conflicts and disagreements and intolerance so that they may recognize the unity in diversity and the oneness in our humanity while using their artworks to also promote tolerance, empathy, human fraternity, and peace. Thank you.
I
Such a
love that. I think I'm going to ask you for some of those quotes again. Unity in diversity, I love that. But oneness in humanity, oh my goodness. The power
yes.
of forgiveness. Thank you. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me. So my name is Marcelline Moukoko. I am from Cameroon, Central Africa. I am a Cameroonian and I am a certified yoga teacher and a mental health first aider. The goal of this association is to sensibilize, to create awareness around women's mental and physical health. These women who suffer from endometriosis and POCS and this kind of diseases. I am bilingual, so sometimes the words come in my brain in French before I translate them. Thank you very much.
That's fine. We are all going to learn some French. We are all going to listen. I like that mindfulness and yoga to promote a healthy mental state. I like that. So, we want to talk a little bit about mental health screen. We do screening for so many other genres of issues, diseases, and so on. So it was even funny for some people to think that there is something called mental health screen. Is there a mental health screen? I'll have Tatiana tell us what is the mental health screen and what types of screenings have you used in the past, or are you aware of that others might incorporate? What is mental health screen, Tatiana?
Okay. Mental health screening is like a way of uh, checking or catching a mental health condition in communities among people. Uh, it's used to check the signs of a disorder, mental disorder, among the people before a diagnosis is made. But apart from that, it's not there. We don't do that. It doesn't happen anywhere. It's in Uganda mostly. The screening is not done in communities until someone is terribly not okay or mentally sick. That's when they're taken to the to the sites, centers, mental health centers for examination or treatment. That's at the chronic stage. But we don't have screening. There is only one project that's coming up. It's called Smaya, that's working, doing the awarenesses in the communities, and then also trying to avail information for the community to know that such screenings can happen.
Brooke, in your experience, what have you seen with healthy aging in people with or without mental health issues?
So I have found that, well, in relation to photobiomodulation, which is using light therapy to impact mood, mental health, circulation, inflammation, and cognitive function in the brain. So it's interesting because we all have a certain amount of energy that is provided. Well, whether that's from nutrition or the amount of sleep that we get or the amount of physical exercise, if you eat an antioxidant rich diet or healthy fats for the brain, those have an impact. How much natural light you're getting, like sunlight, for example, which regulates the sleep wake cycle. So, all these things have an impact on mental health regularly. But adding photobiomodulation to it really gives an extra burst of energy or boost. And just to let people know, if you don't know what photobiomodulation is, that's the scientific or fancy term for light therapy. And in this case, I'm referring to LED lights as in, not as in lasers, but as in non invasive. It's using photons of light. So the photo part is the photons. Bio means it works on everything living. So it can work on humans, plants, animals as well. And modulation because it has an effect on the tissues or organs. So a lot of times for mental health, we put the pads of light on the frontal and temporal lobes where our mood centers are. And that we can actually help to entrain the brain with pulse frequencies to achieve a desired brain state. So, for general healthy aging and cognitive function, I usually recommend, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm a scientist, but I recommend for my clients to do at least one time a week to start, sometimes two or three, depending on what we're working on. But for regular healthy aging, I think even doing a protocol with a few sessions to kind of achieve certain goals, like whether you want to get better sleep or if you're depressed and you want to help with the mood or stress or anxiety, we can help benefit with that. And then to kind of taper off into a once a month or once every other month to make sure to have that light for the brain to help your body and to help the cells to enhance that cellular process, keep the mitochondria happy, keep the ATP, which is cellular energy, and everything up so that better health and efficiency is going on in the brain.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Brooke. I think we will all learn a lot from that today. I see you say light is life. I really love that. I really love that. I see we have Ijeoma. Yeah, Ijeoma, welcome back. Connection has been such a challenge. Thank you for joining. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us where you're calling from?
Yes. So what would you like to know? A little more about my background?
You're calling from Nigeria. Yeah, we wanted
I
to.
am. I'm calling from Nigeria.
Yeah, we were talking about your experience with mental health. Have you ever heard of mental health screenings?
Oh, yes. Yes, I think it's not something anyone can escape anymore, increasingly. And then as a media comms professional, PR professional, your role in influencing or supporting or not the mental health of the audiences is also becoming more prominent. So I have heard of it, and it's something that we have to navigate in the course of
Right.
our work.
And you said your role in the media. Can you please highlight a little bit how can effective communication strategies be used to reduce the stigma that is still surrounding mental health today? I know you say nobody can escape from it anymore, but you bear with me that there's still stigma about this. Your role in the media, how has that helped to
Mm.
reduce stigma surrounding mental health?
I think it's really to so what does media do? One of the major things is create awareness. But I think what we can do increasingly is to institutionalize it, right? Structure the platforms on which this um, mental health issues really are publicized or communicated, right? I know we have a mental health um, day, and thank you, Dr. Mercy, and your team for this, honestly. So this is one of the platforms through which the media can actually reduce that stigma. We have a mental health day. How publicized is it? How well is it commemorated globally? Right? Do we need a day for such a huge issue, or do we need a whole week, or do we need a whole month? Right? I know some other commemorative days have been able to increase their awareness even just by the amount of time that is dedicated to commemorating them and sharing the issues around them in a structured manner. So it's global, it's every year it happens, right? I think then something else is to remove the element of assumption, It would seem like one of the things that caused the stigma in the first place is well, really a lot of assumptions. Is mental health a thing? Or is the person just making excuses? Right? What are the root causes of this thing? How many people are experiencing it? Right? How can we what are the effects of it from an individual basis and from a wider reaching basis in the society, in the community, in the workplace? Like, what are these things? How well are the survivors, the people that have come forward to even talk about their stories, talk about their wins? How well are they recognized? How well are those that promote them, again, like yourself and your team, how well are they recognized on the media platform? Like, these are the things that we do, right? The there's this thing about herd mentality and the celebrities that the power of influence really through celebrity and all of that. Can we not use some of these celebrities who have perhaps been survivors themselves, because as much as they're celebrities, they seem to go through a lot of mental health issues themselves from what some of them have said. So how can we get some of these people as advocates to come out and talk about it? Because if they dress a certain way, everyone wants to dress that way. If they do a certain thing, everyone wants to do that thing. So maybe if they talk about this thing, the stigma around it will reduce. People start to see it as a real issue and not a thing, so to speak, that some people go through. Right? I'm not even sure a lot of people know how to diagnose it properly. Some may feel, oh, I'm stressed out. You call it burnout, you call it stressed out, you call it having a hard time, hard day. It's affecting something's affecting my health, not necessarily knowing how to diagnose it, how to identify it. Right? So I think another major thing, and probably on the more technical side of the media, we can do is to fill the gap that let's say the proliferation of mass media has brought. Um, the internet and social media is fantastic, right? The benefits, social, economic, cultural, cannot be quantified. But it did create a gaping hole in one of the biggest pillars in the media space, which is gatekeeping, right? In the past, through traditional media, the only people that were doing a major part of the communication was were the media professionals, people that were trained in things like framing and media literacy and agenda setting. They knew how to fact check. They knew how to check. Okay, you may catch a story at the time it's happening, but is it the right time to publicize it? God
Absolutely.
forbid it's an accident scene. Do you know if the loved ones of those people even know that their loved ones have passed? It's not about catching it on your phone and wanting to post it the fastest because it's content,
Right.
right? So perhaps bringing back gatekeeping. There is if it has to become an educational curriculum item, it does. It's huge. It's not about content and just posting. And then perhaps we have celebrities, we have influencers rather, based on one level of notoriety or the other. The celebrity, the content creator. Perhaps we should start having influencers that are fact checkers, right? These guys are trained. They know how to. So when things happen, people start to maybe they go to those pages to check one, two. They start to learn that these are the things that you should do, right? It's your space, it's your page, it's what you're pushing out. But recognize that what you're pushing out is going beyond you and has an effect on people,
Right.
primarily on their mental health. So, and then there also
I think you're going to use social
start
media
doing
and help
surveys.
us with that, Ijeoma.
Yes, please.
Your
Yes,
experience in
please.
social media, you're going to use it and encourage all those influencers, celebrities to talk more about mental health, and why not about
Yes,
mental health screenings as well. Dr.
yes,
Olson, I think Dr. Olson can hear us now.
please.
Dr. Olson, what are
Mm.
the key benefits of regular mental health screenings, and how can they contribute to early
All right.
detection and treatment of mental health conditions?
So I think I'd like to start first by doing a proper introduction of myself. I decided maybe I should turn off my video and see if it will help. My apologies, I won't be able to see all the beautiful faces that are staring me on this live presentation.
Now we can hear you well, though.
So maybe to start off, I think I'd like to first and foremost just say that I run African Institute of the Mind, and African Institute of the Mind is pretty much focused on helping Africans to mind their minds one mind at a time. My background is in therapy, but I also have a postgraduate coaching degree, which makes me a coaching psychologist. And the reason why I'm telling this story is because I was hired by General Electric to do some executive work, and someone approached me during lunch break on one of the days and specifically asked if I am able to support an elderly woman who had a mental health crisis. And I recall that question got me thinking about my why. To cut the story short, that was the year that we officially started African Institute of the Mind. And that story brings to life and light one very important thing, that no African that has a mental health need should get turned back. And every year since then, I recall every year of my birthday, I pretty much donate my birthday towards mental health advocacy, towards drawing attention towards the cause. And the reason why I'm saying this is because many times we want to see change. The question is, what are we doing to be a catalyst for that change? And ever since then, it's been humbling, to have been given the opportunity to support communities, even as far as the NHS in the United Kingdom's Black, Asian, minority, and ethnic community. And the reason why I shared that is because I think many times when we are progressing purposefully on a path, we never know the people who get drawn towards that cause or that calling. And I believe for me, it's not just a career, it's also a calling. And I'm very excited about it. And maybe that would be a good place to pause and allow you ask me a question.
Okay, Dr. Awesome, thank you. We'll come back to you. Thank you for sharing such an inspiration and your motivation to your why, and the fact that you're donating every year on your birthday towards mental health cause is awesome, awesome. Just like your name, Dr. Awesome, Dr. Joshua Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Right, you're doing something awesome there. So thank you so much. I'll come back to Tatiana. Tatiana, how can communities come together to support mental health awareness and provide better resources for those in need?
I think our first base from where I am, that's Uganda. We hardly have screenings. Screenings are not really there, and there is only one mental health company that's coming up and sorting that in communities. And so currently, what was being done was, first of all, they did a community project. Those are like short films that are talking about exactly what they're going through, because most of them don't understand that their situations are even affecting them mentally. And so the Smile project was doing the short films and portraying the impact it could have on them in the long run if it's not attended to. And then these short films are shown in the communities. It has been going around the country, showing in different communities. So after the film ends, the community members get to come to meet the team to share their experiences, to share the support they might need. So these professionals are that they get to start screen people at that time, and then assess the situations in their different fields of expertise. Then they can categorize the disorders the different people are having, and then they set up sessions. Some of the sessions have been like 30% medical and more like 70% more of the physical and mental exercising, which the another project has been doing that stuff for the mind over body. But the best solution that have been coming up so far are with that way, showing them the examples of situations they're going through and the impact it could have, also in line with the people who are already suffering that. So communities themselves come up to contribute, to gather resources as a community to ensure that this collective collection is setting up as let me say a center or an opportunity for a specialist to come and cover these issues in the community. So far, that's what's going on.
And Tatiana, still on you. Have you seen an increase in diagnosis in mental health with all these screenings showing videos? Have you seen that people are becoming more aware of their mental health?
Yeah, they are. So far, Smile program is shown in different communities, like over 6, 8, and most of those communities have taken up the projects and they willingly themselves write back, or they have someone representing them to call back the experts in case another case arises. And the advantage is it now becomes a community project in that they are willing to have their stories even covered in form of an awareness short film. So those programs are still shared and projects carry on. So the team realized that the more realistic the film is relating to them, the more willing people are. The more people are willing to come out and share the experiences they're having and seek help. Because mostly when you share, when before they were sharing something that's not related to their communities, people are not relating to it. Maybe United States did you too.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Tatiana. Thank you so much for sharing that. Most of the time, mental
So
health
it
is
makes them come out to know, like, yeah.
yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Most of the time, mental health sometimes is a brain impairedness. And I'll go back to Brooke with this question. With light therapy or with photo biomodulation, how has that helped with cognitive or building cognitive strength in most patients?
So, the way that it helps is by reducing inflammation, increasing circulation, increasing the DNA and RNA regeneration, increasing the nitric oxide and ATP production. And for brain health specifically, so where like in medication, a lot of times it's difficult to have medications pass the blood-brain barrier. That doesn't exist for light therapy. So it is important when you're using a photobiomodulation system is that it has the infrared light or enough power to penetrate through the skull to actually get to the brain. So we use Light MD, which is a medical device, and I've been using this system for over 16 years now. It actually saved me from cervical spine surgery and a brain injury, which I sustained during a car accident in my 20s. That led to neuroendocrine trauma as well, ovarian failure. So not only affecting my brain, but hormones as well, which really led me to go on a quest to understand not only with what's happening with my body, but how to better help my clients. The more I know and the more input I have from my own experience, and I see regular doctors as well, but for many years I was told that they didn't believe what was happening. What is this story I'm telling? How are my hormones affected from my neck injury and my brain injury? So when I'm talking about cellular rejuvenation and repair, I'm really coming from professional but also personal experience.
Right.
When you're able to reduce inflammation using the light therapy, a lot of things happen in natural processes. So you're speeding up the natural healing process rather than adding any chemicals that may interfere or interrupt with other things like kidneys or liver support, or make you groggy. So there's no negative side effects to doing the light. Rather, there's positive side benefits, including neuroprotection, increased in neuroplasticity. So having the availability to form those new neurons and connections, if they've been lost, to maintain that cognition through injury, illness, or aging as well. Neuroprotection with reducing oxidative stress and supporting the health and the function of the neurons as well. So there's multiple ways that you can do it. You can treat from the front and temporal lobes, like I mentioned earlier, but you can also treat from the brain stem and ears, or directly over the corpus callosum if you wanted to kind of synchronize both hemispheres of the brain. And what I've noticed too, and as my colleagues, is treating the back of the neck. So the brain stem, the connection between the brain and the central nervous system and the spine, it has not only acute benefits for the brain, but also systemic. One case right now, the inventor of our system, Dan Shell, the president, he's working with a very touch and go case at a hospital here in California for a young lady who's only 11 years old. And I can't give too much details on it, but she was close to losing her life and being brain dead. And the family has brought in a light machine. And now not only is she still alive 5 days later, but now she passed her next brain test. And so that was all due to an infection. So you can imagine just on the general health and wellness of the brain by regenerating the brain cells, helping white spots to fill in, helping to reduce little cysts or spots of poor oxygenation. That can not only help with brain injuries, but we've also shown in Taiwan with our studies to help with depression. And we're in the initial stages of this. So the publication hasn't come out, but we expect it in this year, 2024. And we've shown already an increase in neural connectivity by placing the light pads on the top and the frontal lobe. We've shown an increase in neural connectivity as well as tissue oxygenation. So doing that alone will help the brain to survive and thrive with its own energy and cellular processes.
Whoa. That's a lot to digest. And I wish that could work in the mind as well, not just the brain. Right.
Oh, it does. We have many people actually, Dr. Mercy, who come to us even just for stress. So
Right.
something as simple like stress versus a stroke versus a traumatic brain injury or even mental focus.
Yes.
So there's oftentimes that I'll go to a conference and I always bring my device with me, and whether I have a demonstration booth or not. And in between, like at a lunch break, I'll offer people either we can help to entrain their brain to a higher frequency like gamma, 40 hertz, or go to a lower frequency like 5 hertz if they want to de-stress. And they achieve it in 10 minutes or less. It's pretty incredible.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. That is awesome to know. And you also realize, even just personally, sometimes you may just be in a gloomy state. You just go out in the sunshine and start feeling better. Light is life, right?
That's right.
Right. I'll come back to you, Ijeoma. Then very soon
Yeah.
we'll address some comments on some questions in the comments. Ijeoma, what role does branding play in promoting mental health
Mm.
awareness, and how can organizations create impactful campaigns? Being in that domain of
Yeah.
communication.
Yeah. So the thing with branding is essentially it's the psychological method of projecting or representing the customer to them, and then you insert your product in there. So they see themselves and they see how they engage with your product. That's
Hmm.
essentially, branding in many ways. So I think one would be, and um, if mental health can be inserted in there, so amongst the many different scenarios and beautiful stories that can be told, when trying to achieve branding, and it could be branding through an ad, it could be through an event, it could be through materials, it could be through an experience, right, of the organization. But if organizations could start to champion mental health as they do, there's some other organizations that are categorized as burning issues or top issues, and everyone has to get involved. It's part of their CSR and all of that. But if mental health can, achieve that status as well, where organizations in for example, recording advertisements would be able to recognize that in the course of representing the life cycle of a customer, it's important to represent the mental health issues that they face and how their products can also help address those issues, right? Of course, it's for profit because it's business, right? It's organizations, especially or not for profit, but it can be a win-win essentially both ways, where yes, the product is being sold, but the customer is also being represented in a way that shows that mental health is being recognized and the mental health of that customer is being recognized. And also to take note that in the course of that representation, the product itself shouldn't be part of the mental health issue as well. There are some that perhaps I'm trying not to name any industries, but it goes without saying. Sometimes in the physical appearance, let me put it that way, industries that play in the physical appearance space, it's almost a default, or it's unintentional. It would seem unintentional, but it's organic that they would want to project their products in the most idealistic way. But that idealistic way, and it's them branding their product, it's them achieving branding for their product, right? But that may put some pressure on a lot of people as to, okay, so this product is only meant for X kind of people, you know so again, it just goes back to, if organizations can, one, recognize mental health for the burning issue that it now is, and being able to champion it through their whatever their branding strategies are. It could be to educate about
Mm-hmm.
mental health. It could
Yeah,
be to
especially the
advocate
education. Right.
for mental health. Yes, it could be to create that cultural shift where people start to understand that this is a real issue, and every one of us needs to become more cognizant of it in
Mhm.
all our actions as to how it affects the next person's mental health. I think that would help.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, organizations can carry out campaigns and all kinds of educative projects to help the awareness, reduce the stigma, especially. Sometimes it is easy, sometimes they are not easy. I'll go to Dr. Awesome. Dr. Awesome, can you discuss some common barriers to mental health screenings around your area, or what you've experienced, and how can we encourage more people to undergo those evaluations?
One of the things that I really believe we should direct our attention to is awareness. So, for example, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And as much as possible, having awareness from a community level, and a community level could be those who have possibly a lived experience. They can spotlight it within their community. And the reason why I am highlighting that is because the level of stigma on the continent is pretty much a major barrier, and that pretty much is standing against, people interested in anything that has to do with mental health. And I'll give you an example. So recently, we got a request from a government agency, and I'm trying my best not to mention their name. And the request required that I go into their office and sit down and pretty much get into a listening session that will help bring clarity around the brief and the assignment. When I got into the office, the executive that I was going to speak with during the session began to share that they have a wellness center that has been locked down for longer than lockdown has existed. And it's fully equipped. And after she finished, she began to ask questions about how we commence our engagement with clients. And I wanted to explain it in a very comfortable manner. And by the time I finished, she began, what if people start knowing that some of our colleagues are having mental health crisis? Would we lose our jobs? Will it affect our rating? Now, again, I'm holding myself back because this government organization is at the highest level. Now, if they are thinking that way at that level, you can imagine how people who don't have access to such resources, who don't have access to the level of security, and I'm sure you're already getting an idea of the type of level I'm talking about, who don't have access to per diems that, if they travel, and my point is very simple. The reason why I'm going this far is to say that as a continent, one of the key things that is impeding, acceptance of mental health is because, first and foremost, the issue is sounding and feeling like a taboo. All right. So that in itself is already a major issue. So for us as African Institute of the Mind, what we are doing is we are languaging it differently. All right. So I recently released a book titled Mind Your Mind. And instead of saying we want you to get a mental health screening, we languages that we say we would like you to mind your mind. In other words, we want to, help you to feel how your mind is feeling. In other words, we're trying to, reframe it. We're trying to, make people not feel uncomfortable by the various things that creates this type of discomfort. And I think that is in a way creating some level of success in South Africa. And I'm very excited about it because recently a UK organization approached us and said, we've heard about the work you guys are doing. We would like you to put together a specialized program for clinicians, surgeons, and hospital CEOs. Because many times while we are talking about supporting the average person, we are leaving behind the people who really are doing the care themselves. And I'm
Yes.
speaking of healthcare professionals.
Mhm.
So these are some of the ways by which we think we are able to get through our people, by making them feel comfortable. Using words like your mind instead of saying, you have a mental health crisis. And as we all know, our second brain is our gut. And truly, as we tell people about, minding their mind, maybe we begin to win some people into our corner who will gladly want us to begin to do more in this space. Hopefully we can then internally begin to do screening, and as we do more of it, they then talk about it, and as they talk about it, many more will hear about it. And as many more hear about it, hopefully our continent will be a more beautiful place. As I like to always say, for us to have a beautiful country, continent, city, it begins by having beautiful brains.
Beautiful brains, beautiful minds. Thank you, Dr. Awesome, for sharing that. And I like the title of your book, Mind Your Mind. I would love to read it. Mind Your Mind. So we are changing the verbiage. We are changing the words to make somebody feel comfortable and to normalize mental health screenings or just mental health talking or mental health discussions among every stage of the discussion, be it a child, be it an elderly. And thank you, all those who are watching. I see Mabel say, I'm impressed with what Tatiana is doing in Africa. Thank you, especially with such limited resources and all that. We appreciate everything and all those things that Tatiana is doing in Uganda can, of course, promote mental health awareness. I see what Veronica says. I feel like more people are aware and have an understanding of how our mental health affects us, but they are not very open to talk about these issues, which is very true, very true. People are not open to talk about mental health, especially with the stigma in those days, and it's still apparent today. People are not still comfortable to talk about their mental health. Dr. Awesome, you just mentioned that you're doing like even a screening at work. What if someone's own test positive? Does that mean they're going to lose their job? Does that mean their position is at stake? So it brings up a lot of questions like, what if my boss knows that I am not in my highest mental capacity? What if, right, am I going to lose my job? Or what will happen? And it's funny. Maybe that's why people don't talk about it.
It is. And based on my work sometimes in corporate organizations, I've realized that sometimes the professional that they see um, does not have what I will call best practices in their work. Yes, I know sometimes the organization that is paying us to do the work may expect some form of insights or feedback, but I make it very clear from the start. I'll give you an example. I sit on the African Board for Coaching, Consulting, and Coaching Psychology, which is, the standard body here in South Africa, and represents, the industry across the continent. Uh, and one of the things that I believe we need to begin to do is we need to create more safe spaces for people and professionals. I know that
Absolutely.
many people are uncomfortable talking to a claimed therapist because they realize that some of the things that they share finds its way back into a report in an organization. Now, as much as I am a fan of wanting to help an organization grow, you can only get a person's best when they feel safe around you. Okay. If they don't feel safe around you, you've actually lost them. Okay. And for me, before I begin any engagement, I'm very clear with the organization. Uh, um, and and I'm clear because I think that sometimes they expect that you will report to them and give them all the details of what has happened And honestly speaking, we usually ask that organizations learn to respect people's privacy.
Absolutely.
We talk about privacy a lot, but the question is, do we really respect people's privacy? We're beginning to see that a lot of so-called global brands that claim that they follow certain privacy laws have literally been lying to us. So the world finds it very hard, to really trust people. And I make it very clear from the start. Okay, I am guided by ethical guidelines. Aside being part of the African Board for Coaching, Consulting, and Coaching Psychology, I'm also a member of the American Psychological Association. And those who know my work know that you will not find us wanting. So once people begin to feel safe, okay, a lot of things begin to change. And talking about feeling safe and discussing about barriers to mental health screening, the issue of safety, okay, there's a way you make a person feel as the therapist, as the counselor who is bringing that form of professionalism. And I'll give you an example. I was once sitting in a session with the CEO of an organization, and I said to him, so that I would need to record this session.
Mm-hmm.
And he says to me, he says, what phone are you using? And I said an Android. And he said, can we reschedule? And I didn't understand what it was that made him request for a reschedule. So I went to the HR exec and I asked, and she said to me, she said, we're an American organization. You can't bring an Android device into, and so that Android device, the manufacturing brand is from China. And I'm sitting in a boardroom with the CEO of an American organization, even though he represents their South African division. Now, that was a learning curve for me. He didn't feel safe because, yes, we would record it, but the fact that it was going to be recorded on a Chinese brand, a Huawei brand. He didn't feel safe. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what am I talking about? What is that? Now, I had to step back and also reevaluate and get feedback and understand, because I'd never had the opportunity to do that work before with that type of a person. But what did I do? Because it was a long contract, I immediately went to buy an iPhone. Okay. And I kid you not, the next session, when he saw that I walked into the session with an iPhone, he felt more comfortable. In other words, sometimes the therapist, you can be the person standing in the way of the solution you're trying to bring.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard, I heard, Brooke talking about light therapy. The question is the solution offerings that I have as a provider, is it what I always want to use? Because many times we have been trained in a certain manner and we want to use the technique we are used to. And I said that to say this. A client came from outside South Africa to us, a student based in Lesotho. And I would never forget, when I got the call, the father said to me, look, my daughter has been through therapy and has been in and out of hospitals. In other words, he was giving me the backstory. She had several medications. And that backstory was very important. Okay. And so what did we do? We did not introduce anything that we had used in the past. And based on creating safety for her, we did the session in the outdoors, in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And we got an equine therapist, okay, to help us use a horse to help her walk back into a safe space. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because many times therapists may not know your own mold and mindset of how a person needs to be treated and supported could be the barrier towards their recovery. And so I say that from a humble place. I don't have all the answers, but I go into a discovery and a listening session with the purpose of purely listening. All right, because when I listen for the purpose of listening, I don't listen with an answer immediately. I listen to be able to understand how best to support the person. And throughout that lady's treatment protocol, not once did we take her back to what she had experienced. And she's back in by the way, when she came to us, she had dropped out from university, final year student. When we finished with her 6 months later, she had to restart university and hasn't had relapse in 3 years. So it's also a lesson for people who are in the mental health space to realize that sometimes we should not stand in the way. Okay. And then the issue of, cost barriers. We realized that as much as they wanted to be helped, they'd spend so much money. So we did not want to go with, okay, this is the budget, you have to pay XYZ. African Institute of the Mind exists not to turn any African back. So I said to the father, I empathize with you. We will go the way with you. We're happy to give you a discount. We're happy to work with you with the budget you have. And when their funds were depleted, we continue to support the person. The father was so impressed and said, you know what, we're going to back pay you. Now, I didn't expect that. But my point is very simple. Sometimes cost is one of the barriers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Our people cannot afford it because
Absolutely.
it's not cheap. Okay. And in some cases, the space where it's been done, many therapy places looks like a graveyard in quotes. Okay. They already know, okay, this place is looking all creepy, looks like a funny place, hospitals and stuff. If you walk into where we do treatment, you will think you are going into a five-star hotel. I've had people look around and say, okay,
I love that. I love
What's happening is, uh, and we don't use one size fits all. I mean,
absolutely.
and I love the fact that, again, back to Brooke, I love how she was giving her own personal story. I had a spinal injury last year. Okay. And one of the things that I was using was one of our machines. We have a machine called the hyperbaric oxygen therapy machine. By the way, I'm one of those who have followed Dr. Daniel Amen for so long, and my practice also, has a relationship with his. And I was using hyperbaric oxygen therapy to also support my own spinal recovery journey. And we've had to sometimes incorporate it into treatment programs for some of our clients. In other words, it's not a one size fits all. Okay. In some cases, it's, so that we are cutting off the social stigma. Okay. The workplace discrimination. Okay. The lack of awareness, the misunderstandings that people have that, okay, yeah, these guys are always about money. We're not always about money. We care about people, and accessibility issues. So one of the things we're now thinking of as Africans of the Mind is to use, and I like the story somebody shared about a film. We've even created a short film. Okay, it's a 5-minute short film that won 4 international short film nominations. And we didn't expect that because we were just creating it to tell a story. And it's
That's
called,
very good.
yes,
Yeah,
it's called,
that's very good. And you said
yeah,
something, knowing a
yeah.
patient's history or knowing their history, knowing their background. That way you know what failed
Mm,
so that you don't
mm,
do it anymore. And
yes,
creating that safe place is key. Because
yeah.
sometimes, even for some patients, Some places are what even triggers them again more. Sometimes they want a male therapist or they want a female therapist. Sometimes they want outdoor or indoors. And I like when you say your treatment spaces look like a five-star hotel. Wonderful. Especially patients who don't feel very comfortable in tight places. We need to make sure that the therapy room is friendly, comfortable, spacious, and things like that. So you are very correct when you say sometimes we are the barriers to the question or to the solutions that we are looking for. So yes, let us be very mindful of that. Brooke, I want to come back to you a little bit with the light therapy. How can that be integrated into a daily wellness routine to promote healthy aging? Is it something that everyone can use or anyone can use to promote healthy aging, or you have to have something going on, or is it even accessible to the public?
That's a great question. So the device that we use, LightMD, it is accessible by everyone, and we do have devices worldwide. So LightMD is the USA version. We have one in Asia. We have a segment in the Middle East as well. So we have different divisions with the same technology. If somebody does not have access to our technology, though, and perhaps it's too expensive or not able to be used in a certain location, there are other devices. So they have, I've seen helmets. Typically, they're used for growing hair, but they can also be used for increasing circulation. They've got a little device that goes up into, it's called the violet. It goes up into the nose, and that can penetrate through the skull and get the light into the brain. The most important thing is to also the sun, the biggest light that we have, the biggest ball of energy where all of this is coming from. I mean, literally
The free light that we have.
the free light that we have. And, I don't know, in the USA, at least we've been taught the last several decades to avoid the sun. And now it's coming out from neurologists and neuroscientists that, hey, maybe the cancer industry is benefiting with bad sunscreen, that we actually should be in the sun, that it does important processes. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is so wild. How would you think that light is so necessary? It makes plants grow. It gives us energy. So yes, it is very vital for our health. And we receive light intuitively and intelligently through our eyes and through our ears. That's how we're designed to see it. And it's processed through our brains. So using daily light, the morning light is the best. That's when you have a large amount of infrared and red. So in our therapy that we do, the near infrared light is what penetrates through the skull. That has a deeper range into the body, but also into the brain. And so being consistent, like if you wake up every morning and say, I want to get, if you have 5 minutes, do 5 minutes. If you can do 30 minutes, do 30 minutes. Do it without sunglasses, do it without any sun protection. Just have, a moment to yourself, whether you're meditating, whether you're having a coffee outside or a glass of water. Have those moments where you're receiving this light. And that sets you up for your energy throughout the day. Also adding physical activity, if you can do it outside, that brings in the nature element, the grounding, your exposure to sun. It could be a cloudy day and you're still receiving that light. But it is so important for your circadian rhythm, your sleep rhythm, which controls the sleep-wake cycle as well. Adding nutrition, which I said, like antioxidants and actual nutrients are going to be good to integrate light and the benefits from light. If you eat plants, those have been grown with light. So you're getting those available nutrients as well. And also they have home devices. So most importantly, I would look for things that are eye safe, because it's important. Like ours is certified IEC photobiologically safe for the eyes. So we use our light, we put it over people's faces, over their eyes. In fact, we've been able to help people with something called macular degeneration, which is the degeneration of the macula. And that is, there's no cure for it. The kind of solution and medicated solution is usually shots into the eye. And it basically means that you're going to go blind because the macula is how we see. And if you degenerate that, well, it's interesting. In my 97-year-old client, this is a couple years ago, he was using our light for recovery for his skin on his head after cancer had been removed. So he used it to recover the wound, and he noticed that in his good eye, or his worst eye, which was 20/85, it had improved by him doing the light on the side of his face and at the top and under his lip. It had improved to 20/25.
Wow.
So that is showing the benefits for the eyes, but it's also showing not only is it safe, there are regenerative properties.
Wow.
And one
So,
of the
Brooke, you're saying that, let's say the morning sun, for example, this is free light for everybody, whether you have a mental health issue or not. And it also promotes, not only does it promote your mental health, but it also promotes healthy aging. So no sunscreen.
for just the morning, 30-minute, 15 to 30-minute increments. After that,
No
sun protection
no
is good.
sunscreen, right? If you're able to be in the sun, those early morning sun, before it gets too hot that burns. So no sunscreen, it can really, really, really help promote, enhance your cognition
And
promote,
digestion.
and digestion.
Digestion, your skin, all the cellular processes that need those photons of light to work. Your vitamin D production is number one.
Right. And vitamin D is good for the brain too, and it's good for your mental health. I don't know if Ijeoma is still there. Ijeoma, this question go to you. Can you, just in a little bit, and I think somebody says speak out louder a little bit. Can you discuss the importance, to Ijeoma, can you discuss the importance of storytelling? I keep talking about you talking because you're in that role of communication. The importance of storytelling in mental health advocacy, and provide tips on how individuals can share their personal stories to inspire others.
So, I think storytelling is also one of the most powerful tools because it's the kind of tool that you use. It pulls you in because you're visualizing the story. You're able to empathize better, empathize faster, right? And then the influence happens without you even knowing it because the storyteller is just explaining the experience and the emotions, and you're visualizing it. Whether or not you can actually relate, you can tell this other person has something, went through something, or is going through something, or whatever the case. So first of all, that's why storytelling is becoming quite, the popular strategy and effective one too. So I would say that at the level of safety that the person is at, I love what Dr. Awesome mentioned, which is that we have to increase, the safe spaces that
Mm-hmm.
are available, so because a person may come out, quite pull together the strength that they have, and come and share their story and get another backlash, on top of that.
Yeah.
So I would say the first thing is to perhaps fortify, the storyteller may have to fortify themselves in terms of mental stamina, well-being, that strength. Perhaps visit Dr. Awesome's Institute, or go through Brooke's therapy. I'm really learning a lot from you. Thank you. But there are all sorts of channels, and I guess this is the flip side, the possible positive side of the same social media. You could start a blog if that's what works for you. If you feel you can show your face, you can talk about it openly. start a blog. So that's a video logging, platform. You can do short videos where you tell as much as you can, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. This is what I can say for today. I'm talking about an experience, and I keep talking about it. YouTube is a platform that is also beneficial to content creators in both the financial way and visibility as well. So you want to put it on YouTube, you want to start your own page, you want to write it down, you're not comfortable with showing your face yet, your person yet, you want to maintain your privacy, you can write it down in a blog. So blog is just, the long form or short form version of it. Perhaps you want to do a short film where other people can demonstrate your story for you. That's also something that works. I would say not to also shy away from whatever mental health fora you can have access to. It's about telling your story, right? It's about telling your story and telling telling it to help and inspire someone else. So if you can get access to those fora, if it's a closed group you can start with, if you can go as far as the book, you might get creative with it, if it's a song, if it's your art. But I think what is most important is for, first of all, the storyteller who is most likely a survivor or someone that has come out of this thing to feel safe enough to do it
Right.
and to strengthen themselves in doing this, to inspire others. So whatever comes out of it, they're still not going to go back into whatever condition. But also use whatever creative platform. So there's some emotional connection, which is also it becomes like a passion point, and they're also motivated by it in doing it through that platform. So choose whatever creative platform works for you. There's so many, I've mentioned some, but feel safe doing it and do it at the capacity that you can. You can grow from there. Perhaps you start out writing and then you go into blogs and then you go into blogs and then you want to do a movie or you start a talk show, whatever the case. But
Right.
start from where
Yeah.
you are and go from
Thank you for sharing that, Ijeoma. Thank you for sharing that. Most of the time, people go through certain things and think that they are alone, but they will be surprised how much they are not alone just by sharing their stories. Many
there.
people will connect to that. So many people. They will be
Mhm.
surprised how many people will connect to that. And they will not just inspire people, but
Mhm.
it will inspire communities. They will
Exactly.
inspire more than they could even imagine just by sharing their story. And as much as we promote sharing your story, you can save many lives or you can inspire many people. Like you say, Ijoma, share at the comfort level where you are.
Mhm.
Don't share something that when someone come back to talk about it, it will instead hurt you. Have boundaries where you're sharing. Be comfortable. Choose who you're sharing to. And you may even start sharing gradually until you get very comfortable and very open. Then you can put it out there and be ready because that story may come back to haunt you. So plan all those stages before you start sharing your story. And yes, sharing your story will encourage others to share as well. During that journey of sharing your story, you may even find some healing that you did not know you could have just by sharing your story. And we have Marcelline. You introduce yourself again and talk about where you're calling from, please?
Okay, my name is Marcelline Moukoko. I am a yoga teacher from Cameroon. I'm a certified yoga teacher, and I am also a certified mental health first aider. I'm also a certified mental health first
That's what I
aider.
really wanted to hear about mental health first aid. That's what we cannot see you. Are you able to come on camera? Wonderful. Yes, now you are. You got the stage all by yourself, Marceline. Thank you.
Thank you.
I
So
can
I
see
was
you
saying
saying
that
that.
I am. My name is Marcelline Moukoko. I'm from Cameroon. I am a certified yoga teacher and a certified mental health first aider. And as well, I have a company named Mawe, which means Management of Wellbeing. And we do into helping people manage better their stress with the help of yoga and mindfulness techniques. As well, I am a member of Healing Your Inner Child, which is an association here in Cameroon, which deals with helping people manage their mental health condition and be more aware of what is mental health. We had events recently on maternal mental health, youth mental health, and mental health around moments for movement.
Mhm.
And as well, I am the founder of a not yet legal association, which is called AWA, which is African Women Health Awareness Association, which the goal is to create awareness around the difficulties that women face here, those that suffer from chronic diseases such as endometriosis, PCOS, and others of that sort, which are feminine diseases and which are non-sexually transmissible, but
Mhm.
which cause really great, big issues in both their mental and physical health, as well as their
Right.
professional lives.
Right. Let me stay with you, Marcelline. What are some of the holistic approaches to mental health and well-being that you advocate for through your work with Maui?
First of all, as I said, I'm a certified yoga teacher. So obviously, one of the first holistic approach that we always advocate for is yoga to help people manage better their stress. Because what is great with yoga is that at the same time you can take care of your body and your mind. We also advocate breathing techniques. We also advocate journaling,
Mm-hmm.
self-care routines, good sleeping patterns. Like Brooke said, sleeping is very, very important. And not sleeping well enough can create many issues, such as even Alzheimer. We also advocate for activities in nature. When we have to work with some clients, we usually find ourselves working in spaces where we either have like a beach or mountains that help promote nature-based exercises.
I am
So,
already
and
visualizing that. I love that. I am
thank you.
right. I
And I would say the last thing that we also advocate for, which is why last week, it was 8 days ago, Mawe partnered with HIC. We advocate for also working with communities, with associations in order to bring to create more awareness around mental health.
I am going to stay with you, Marceline. We miss you. I hope Franca too is there. Connection has been an issue. Marceline, again, I want to come back to you. Oh, Franca is there. Yes. It looks like the connection is getting better. How can Marceline, this is still for you. How can individuals incorporate mindfulness and self-care practices into their daily routine to improve mental health?
Okay, so one of the things I always tell people is that you should start with small steps, because when you can decide to change your life from 0 to 360 in just a few days, it's not sustainable, and it
Mm-hmm.
instead becomes something very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things I always tell to people is to look for activities, physical activities that they kind of naturally born to, be it both physical or creative activities. Like for example, it can be walking, it can be dancing, whatever, and let them try to incorporate those activities in their lives for somewhere around 5 minutes to even 30 minutes per day or every 2 to 3 days. And to be more step by step, I'll start with the morning. What I recommend, for example, in the morning as a daily routine is when you get up, instead of going directly to your phone, they should start by either having meditation or 5 minutes or 3 minutes or just a moment with themselves. What I usually do is that I have my book that I carry everywhere with me. I have it here with me. I have my book that I carry everywhere with me. In there, I put what I have to do. So I have my alarm that reminds me that I have to look into that every morning and every evening.
so that it helps me know what I have to do during the day and what I have left to do the next day. This actually helps me be less stressed when I write down what I have to do. So I think that is a mindful exercise that someone can do, like actually being intentional about what you want to do during your day, and also having like 2 to 3 minutes of breathing in the morning. That really helps relax the mind while setting you in the instant. After that, I recommend during the day to have some breaks, because usually what we do is that, especially here in Africa, people will come to the office in the morning and they'll be working for 8 to 7 hours, which is not good for your health, which is not good neither for the physical or the mental health. So I recommend to have like an alarm in your phone that helps you take a break every 2 to 3 hours, where you get away from your laptop or for anything you're working, relax, stretch a little bit so that your brain can reset well. During the evening, it's great for those that have like a busy schedule. Maybe you can have a studio like the yoga studio, or a place where you can go and have a physical activity or a mindful activity, meditation, or something of that sort. And then when you reach home, this is something that I usually tell, especially to the ladies that wear heels all day long. After you've removed your heels, find a way to relax yourself before taking a bath. It can be by self massage, it can be by aromatherapy, but do something that is really going to help your body really cool down slowly. Eat something in the evening that is not going to stress your brain, because as we said, I think it was Dr. Elson who said it, our gut is our second brain. So
Yes.
if you eat in a way that your body feels heavy, your brain is not going to relax at night,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not going to feel good. And
Absolutely.
this is not good for your mental health, it's not good for your physical health, it's not good for your weight. And that is going to disrupt your sleeping pattern. And try and have like a warm bath. And with I am a fan of aromatherapy, so I'll always talk about essential oils, how it's going to help you like relax in the evening, feel really suited. Because what we have not noticed is that we are very tuned in with natural sense, with good natural sense. It helps us relax. So you
Right.
take a good bath, you disconnect from your phone, you leave your phone aside. What I usually do is that I'll leave my phone in the parlor, reach the parlor. Maybe I'll put a loudspeaker. I have my mindfulness music that I always put that will help me relax. That I also put during my classes. And maybe I can listen to a podcast that is going to help me relax, and that is actually going to help you have a better sleeping pattern. And
Right.
I think that kind of sets the day.
Actually, you said one thing. People talk about this a lot. Meditation, meditation. What is meditation? Just in a few words. What is meditation, and how does that help you with your mental health?
Well, meditation is actually withdrawing most of your senses and being in your inward self, uh, connecting to something. It's not always about thinking about the greatest project you're going to put in place for the next 500 years. It can be as simple as candle gazing. It can be as simple as just putting a music, sitting down on on a chair or something that helps your back to be relaxed while being straight. Connecting with that music while breathing, and that is already a great guiding meditation.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. I want to come with to Franca. Thank you so much, Marceline. We have missed you. We have missed Franca. Franca, welcome back. Please give us another introduction. And to follow that question for you, Franca, what is art therapy and can it be used as a tool for promoting mental health and well-being? Can we use that?
Thank you once more. And I didn't disappear. I was just around listening to all of you and all the insightful, yeah, all your insightful remarks and great
Thank
advice.
you.
Just that my video was not on. So my name is Franca Sulem Yong, and I'm an art therapist. I'm the founder of Afrogiveness, coined from Africa and forgiveness. And
Franca, where are you calling from, if I may ask?
I'm calling from Nigeria.
Okay.
But like I said, I'm a Cameroonian and I came to Nigeria for Nigerian Art in Health Week.
Ijeoma is laughing. Ijeoma is happy. She got
Yes.
someone from Nigeria. I'm
Yes,
happy I got
please.
someone from Cameroon with me. So,
Yes, but I do have
Art
family in Nigeria too, so
hmm
yeah, so I consider this place my home too. So whenever there's an activity in Nigeria, I always come around.
That's nice.
And yes, and so I help survivors of conflict and intolerance to heal through forgiveness and release through art. And so, as per your question, what is art therapy?
hmm
And can it be used as a tool for promoting mental health and well-being, particularly in older adults? Yes, 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 and yes. Art therapy can definitely be used as a tool. And what is art therapy? We'll first start by asking, what is art? I'll put it simply as the use of imagination and creativity to create something that can appeal to the senses. And then what is therapy? Therapy is seeking help from a professional who can help you explore your mental and emotional health and improve your mental and emotional well-being. So art therapy is that going through the process of exploring your mental and emotional health using art. And art can definitely be used as a tool for promoting mental health because, as I earlier said in my first introduction, art is a universal language that everybody understands, and art
Yes.
has the power to transcend verbal expression. So, art therapy was created to solve mental health issues that cannot be solved with words. Like we probably all know about the story of Maya Angelou, who had been muted by a traumatic experience, and the
hmm
only way she could express herself was through writing. So,
hmm
so therefore, art is definitely a kind of therapy. And yes, it can be used for promoting mental health amongst adults, older adults. Why? Because first of all, it serves as a safe space for self-discovery and self-expression. Many of them don't know that they can create art, but they don't know that they have an artist within them. Everybody has an artist within them. And that artist could be a poet, it could be a storyteller, a fashionista, a designer. So once you have the opportunity to create art, whatever form it may be, you get to discover who you are in the process. So it serves as a safe space. And then also it helps to reduce stress and anxiety for older adults. Once you're doing something useful, they say the devil's mind is uh, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So when you are doing something, you are not stressed, you are not depressed. You get to focus on something uplifting, especially if you are creating uplifting art. And then thirdly, it helps to improve memory for older adults. We know that everything once documented can easily be remembered. Whether you've documented it in writing or documented it in drawing or documented it in singing, it can easily be remembered. And then it aids in communication for older adults, especially for older adults who cannot articulate their words or their pain verbally. They get to communicate through art. Like I earlier said, art has the power to transcend verbal expression. And then I think art also helps with relaxation. When you are not doing anything, because older adults, they are not at our stage where we are struggling to build a career or to get ahead or something. So when you're just at that stage, when you're just making art for the very sake of it, it could really help you to relax. And then art helps in overall emotional well-being, mental health, and resilience. So yes, art does help older adults. Art therapy does help older adults.
I'm going to stay with you again, Franca. Since I have you now, I'm going to stay with you again. Can you share some success story or example where art therapy has significantly impacted someone's mental health? I read somewhere they say art is everything, and you just mimicked that everyone has some form of artist in them, and we just may not know it. It may be through journaling, it may be through storytelling, it may be through our thoughts, and if we could put those thoughts in words, so everyone can somehow be creative in their own unique way, create their own art story. But can you share some success or an example where art therapy has significantly impacted someone's mental health?
Oh, yes. First of all, I must say that I work with conflict affected youths almost on a daily basis. And I don't know, you know of Picasso saying, he says, art washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life. So,
Yes.
generally, every day, when they are doing art, they are happy. They get to focus on doing something that makes them happy. But I'm
Mhm.
going to share you this unique story. This story, what made me do art therapy in the first place. When the Anglophone crisis broke out in Cameroon, some of my relatives were killed and some became combatants out of war trauma. I was initially a journalist. I'd practiced journalism for 7 years and strategic communication for 3 years. I didn't think I was going to be an art therapist per se. So when many of these people came to our house during the conflict, and there was a girl who had become mute, she could no longer speak anymore because she was traumatized. And none of us knew what her problem was. So the only way she could communicate, I felt, was through art. So I did a training on art therapy. Then I started, drawing, and then she started drawing with me. I was actually drawing what I hope she will communicate. Like I'll draw a heart and I'll say, in this side of the heart, I'll draw what I like. This side, I'll draw what I don't like. Then she started drawing what she likes. And then we came to realize through the drawing that she had been gang raped. And because she had been gang raped, she became muted. She became
Oh,
muted. Yes. She was gang raped during the Anglophone conflict by separatist fighters. She was 11 years old. It's true, her healing process took a while because she finally started speaking. She now goes to school. She could not go to school. She just stayed there in the house, staring in one space, staring into empty space. But now through art therapy, then she started drawing and drawing. And then after drawing, she started writing poems. After
oh,
writing poems, she started singing. And we actually created a choir where we could connect all these people. Music is more universal. And so now the girl has taken up her life. So mostly I won't say that I really healed her per se. I'll say art therapy basically just gives you a platform where you can
mm-hmm.
express yourself, and especially with somebody who is supportive. And art therapy works especially if the art therapist has this ability to empathize, to be patient, to
Right.
encourage you to say what is inside your mind.
Mm-hmm.
What I did was just encourage her to say what is inside her mind. And then art therapy should not be confused with art, because it's not about how proficient you are or how good you are. It's just about you expressing your mind the way you express to a therapist, but only that you're using the language of art.
Mm.
Because I
Wow.
have a friend who practices dance therapy, and dance therapy helps people with coordination. There's some people, they work lankily, they work badly. So dance therapy is how to help them, coordinate their brain and body movements. So it's not about how well you dance. It's first of all what you want to see from the patient. Is if the patient first of all has the courage to start to engage. Because most patients don't even want to talk in the first place. They don't want
Right.
to engage in the first
Mm.
place. So art therapy gives them that platform.
Thank you
So that's
so
what
much for sharing that, Franca. I think, in a nutshell, what I am getting is art therapy is how you express your inner self to outside. What can
yes.
you use to bring out your feelings, your emotion? How are you going to express what is inside of you outside? So thank you so much for sharing that. We have gone way longer than we intended to because of connection issues. And I'll just go around and ask for final words from each of you guys. And thank you so much again, the audience, for watching. Thank you for staying with us through bad connection and everything until now. We appreciate you. Let's start with Brooke. Miss Brooke, final words to mental health screening and healthy aging.
Yes, final words. So in our clinic, even though we are non-medical, I still, in my intake forms, I have an optional section where people can give me information that helps me to help them best. And one of the questions is mental health. And I have people rank it from 1 to 10 and just say what your status is. And that way, nobody, when they come in, they have to offer the information unless they want to. If they say, if they circle they're anxious or depressed, that helps me to help my clients better. Also, I've learned so much from all of you here today. So much valuable information from my fellow podcast guests, as well as you, Dr. Mercy and Marcelline and Franca and Tatiana and Dr. Awesome. And I just loving, I want to do a yoga class there in the outdoors. I would love to participate in art, just keeping the mental health and as well as with the communication and the importance of the mind. And I really have just received so much value from this podcast and things that I can help take learning with my clients and their experiences and some of these valuable tools. So thank you. It's been a wonderful and enlightening conversation. And just remember, wherever you can find your light, find it. Whether it's from LEDs or whether it's from the big ball of sun or whether it's from love and family and friends and comes from you. You be that light. So thank you all.
And our light is life. I like that. Thank you so much, Brooke. Thank you so much. I can't get that out of my head today. Tatiana, are you there? Tatiana, any final words?
Yes, I am.
We cannot see you. Any final words regarding mental health screening? What an awesome job you're doing in Uganda. Any final words about mental health screenings and healthy?
Okay, my light is still low. I would like to share that the mental health screening practices, I would say that I would advise that people encourage them in their communities. They could encourage the parties to share their stories in third-party form, to choose a character of their choice, the stories to be communicated through. That can encourage. I would also add more, like they could use the story for art. That it would be very, very encouraging for the communities. And I've learned more about aging. I didn't know much about that, the aging section, but I would like to appreciate Dr. Brooke for sharing, and thanks a lot.
All right, Tatiana, thank you. Let's go to Ijeoma. Any final words, Ijeoma, about mental health screening and healthy aging?
Uh, I'd say a few things. One, your body is your only vehicle, your only right to this earth. So keep it well, take care of it so that you can enjoy your experience, your time here. I also love to thank Dr. Mercy and your team. It's been a great experience for me and the other podcast speakers as well. I've learned so much, technical and non-technical art therapy and all. Thank you so much. And then the final thing is to say, communication is a means to an end, right? And we all have our right to communicate what we want, how we want, where we want, all of that. So as much as um, we are communicating for ourselves, we must remember that we're also communicating for everyone else. So just bear that in mind in managing both how you put out information and how you receive it. So strengthen yourself because people may put out things that don't work for you but works for them. It's valid for them, right? And then do the same, and hopefully we'll all be able to communicate in a mutually beneficial way for everyone.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Franca, any final words there on mental health screening and healthy aging?
Just to say, there can be no peace without mental health. There can be no health without mental health. There can be no prosperity without mental health because everything starts in the mind and ends in the mind. So our mental health matters. And so whether we are doing art therapy, light therapy, or verbal therapy, traditional talk therapy, whichever therapy we are doing, we should take our mental health seriously. And thank you so much for this platform. because it's helping people to come and talk about mental health and art therapy. It's pretty much stigmatized where I come from. And I hope that this interview will go a very long way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Franca. Nice having you. And Dr. Some last words for mental health screenings and healthy aging.
Great women. So I think I'd like to start to draw my perspective, with these thoughts for a landing. In my book, Mind Your Mind, there's a chapter in it that talks about parenting. And it starts with these words: if your parents didn't know how to hold you, you developed the mind you hold yourself with. So you find safety in this mind you created. And the reason why I read that quote is because um, the child of today is the parent of tomorrow.
Mhm.
And so one of the things we need to do, if you are a parent, is you should first and foremost realize that the mental health of your child begins in your home. In other words, you need to be involved as a parent,
Mhm.
okay? Whether you think you are skilled with regards to mental health or not, you are the first safe space and doctor that that child needs.
Right.
And, so we sometimes say that that builds up to what is called pediatric symptom checklist, all right? And without that, the truth is, if there's no parental information, there is no way any professional can support any child. Earlier, somebody spoke about meditation, and I was just smiling because in my book, I have an acronym for meditation, and it is moving experiential debris, inhibiting the abundant, transcendental, infinite, omnipotent nature. And the reason why I shared that is because many times ideas are jumping into our minds and our head, and we sometimes think it's trash. The truth is, if you ink those thoughts, they could become treasure. And just as I go to the bathroom, for example, and when I flush, I ask myself, what can I be grateful for? Because somebody could not go to the bathroom. All
True.
right. And there are basic things that we take for granted on a daily basis. And from my side, I'd like to conclude by saying this has truly been an insightful opportunity to share with this community. And if you can, please note your diaries for October 1st to 3rd. African Institute of the Mind will be hosting the African Mental Health Symposium on the invitation of the government of Rwanda. And we'd love
That's
to have
my,
you. So thank you,
that's
ladies.
wonderful. We
And
expect an
people
invitation.
thank
Yeah. So thank you all so much. Am I missing anyone with the
you.
final?
Yourself.
Sure,
I'm
Marcelline
missing
has spoken.
myself. This is one of the podcasts that I did not even talk much because I listened more. It was like someone said, like Darius has so much wonderful insights shared. I didn't have to speak a lot. I listened and absorbed a lot. I learned a lot on light therapy. I learned a lot on art therapy. I learned a lot on communication. The part that communication, I cannot say that enough, Ijeoma, helps to play with spreading mental health issues. I learned a lot on the stigma. I love your book, and I'm going to get that book, right, Dr. Awesome? Mind Your Mind. I love it. Love the title. Love that our gut is the next brain. Love a lot about sleep. Tatiana, thank you so much for the wonderful things you're doing in Uganda. And it is so much. We can go on and on and on with this topic. I just want to appreciate all of you for watching. Dara said he's taking notes. I hope many of you took notes to what we can come back with. And we are always here. Whatever we are talking about is what you, audience, you, our patients, you, our clients, are telling us to talk about. And this is how you guys wanted us to talk about Mental Health Month and how you want us to celebrate the Mental Health Month. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for your comments. We could not put all of them. We could not answer all your questions. Connection was a challenge, but thank God we were still able to share some inputs and some insights. We appreciate your time. Short notice, you all showed up. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. And your patience with the connection and everything. I know Tatiana got caught up in traffic and she had to pull on the side just to make sure that she give us this thing that they are doing in Uganda. We appreciate it more than you can imagine. I want to sincerely say I am honored just hosting you all on this platform. I appreciate you guys so much. And you guys will be hearing from me again. This may be your first time in our platform, but trust me, it is not the last time. Franca says there's no peace without mental health or without good mental health. Yes. I always say, what is health without our mental health? And it is a journey. Let us all take the wheels and ride well. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming. We will meet again very soon. Thank you. Bye bye.